Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Cody Proctor. Mark is off tonight. Well, despite officially being fall, the first couple of days of the new season turned out more summer-like. But as Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo can tell us tonight, there's some changes on the horizon.
Oh, and big ones in the works. Let's talk it, because today it was a warm one. We topped out at 86 degrees here in Spokane, 80 up in Deer Park, and mid-80s out in central Washington, with a couple 90s in Ritzville and down in Lewiston. Tomorrow, though, a weather impact alert day as everything starts to change. We are going to get a new air mass, and to get it, we have wind gusts near 35 to 45 miles per hour, pretty widespread, with local gusts up near 50. From central Washington to Spokane, down across the Palouse, there's the potential for blowing dust on top of that. Reason being, it's a lot of wind and it has been very dry. Wind starts in the morning, clouds pick up throughout the day, and we'll see scattered showers develop in the afternoon. More widespread rain returns Wednesday night, followed by a big drop in temperatures as sun returns Thursday. Tomorrow we're still in the 80s with all that wind, but Thursday we top out near 70 degrees after the cold front moves through.
Jeremy, thank you so much. Meanwhile, caught on camera, we're getting startling new video from a motorcycle crash that happened near State Line this weekend. The Washington State Patrol says a pickup following the motorcyclist hit the bike's rear end, causing the rider to be ejected. The crash sent both the driver and the motorcyclist to a hospital for injuries. Troopers say the cause of the crash is under investigation, and charges against the driver of the truck are also being investigated. New tonight, attorneys for the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students filed a motion to allow him to wear street clothes in public hearings as opposed to jail attire. Brian Koberger's attorneys argue the move will help reduce the potential for prejudice due to media coverage of the case. The Idaho Supreme Court recently agreed to move the trial from Moscow, where the murders took place, to Boise, Idaho's biggest city. Koberger is expected to make his first appearance in a Boise courtroom this Thursday. A former Spokane County Sheriff's deputy accused of beating a man last summer could be in court tomorrow. Clay Hilton's expected to appear for his arraignment on assault and false swearing charges. Prosecutors say body camera video shows Hilton using excessive force against a man who was sleeping in his car last August. He was fired from the sheriff's office earlier this month after officially being charged in the case last month in August. Sheriff John Knowles said an internal investigation found Hilton clearly violated department policy. Let's go now to the latest developments in the Pac-12's future. The conference is now suing the Mountain West for a poaching penalty totaling more than $40 million. Today, KREM 2 obtained the more than 100-page lawsuit, which alleges the potential penalties not enforceable under antitrust law.
Now, this all stems from the Pac-12 adding Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado State, and San Diego State. Now, when it comes to the money, according to the Associated Press, the Mountain West has exit fees of upwards of $17 million for departing schools. Those fees can increase depending on how much advance notice a school gives. In addition, the Mountain West put in poaching fees in their football scheduling agreement with both Oregon State and Washington State, since they're the only current Pac-12 members this season. The fee starts at $10 million. It then increases by an increment of $500,000 for every additional school the Pac-12 adds from the Mountain West. With 4 already on board, the total comes to $43 million. The lawsuit says the severe exit fees the Mountain West already has in place for their members would more than compensate the conference for member schools that leave. Instead, the Pac-12's lawsuit argues the Mountain West forced the struggling conference to agree to the poaching penalty, which they claim was, in part, quote, designed to limit the Pac-12's ability to compete with the MWC for years into the future. Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez made a statement about the suit, saying she's responsible for protecting her conference and the Pac-12's taking advantage of their willingness to help them. She also says, in part, quote, at no point in the contracting process did the Pac-12 contend that the agreement that it freely entered into violated any laws. To say that the Mountain West was taking advantage of the Pac-12 could not be farther from the truth. The Mountain West Conference wanted to help the Pac-12 schools and student athletes, but not at the expense of the Mountain West.
Now, KREM 2 also confirmed Utah State just committed to the Pac-12 conference, bringing the total now to 7 schools. This is a precarious time for the Pac-12. Both Washington State and Oregon State are in the first year of a 2-year NCAA grace period in which they're able to operate the Pac-12 as a 2-team conference. By 2026, they need to have at least 8 members in order to be recognized as a conference by the NCAA and College Football Playoff. Let's go now to Nightbeat for a quick look at the day's top stories. A Sandpoint man's behind bars tonight after threatening to kill former President Donald Trump. According to court documents, Sandpoint resident Warren Jones Crazy Bull called the former president's Mar-a-Lago resort in July, saying he was en route to kill him. Court docs say Crazy Bull made several posts on Facebook, including a self-produced video threatening Trump. He was arrested the following day. Crazy Bull told federal agents he never intended to kill the former president, but rather his posts were meant to get law enforcement's attention. Crazy Bull's now facing a potential $250,000 fine and up to 5 years in prison. In the past, Spokane City leaders looked to Houston, Texas for solutions to the homeless crisis. Now the people behind those ideas paid the Lilac City a visit to discuss options to reduce homelessness. KREM 2 traveled to Houston to learn more about their work and see if they could work here in Spokane. Houston's permanently housed more than 30,000 people in the past 10 years. Today, former Houston Mayor Anise Parker spoke about those efforts in a room packed with city leaders, law enforcement, and more.
Shelters are not housing. Shelters are a temporary solution. You wouldn't want to be in a shelter. There's no privacy, there's no ability. You can't take your pets, you can't take your stuff. And if you have almost nothing, what you do have becomes very precious to you.
Officials there say they prioritize placing people into permanent housing instead of a temporary fix. That move reduced homelessness in the city by more than 60%, according to a member of the Houston Mayor's administration focused on homeless initiatives. And one day after we first told you about escalating concerns regarding wolves and cougars in eastern Washington, the director of the state's Fish and Wildlife Department authorized killing one adult wolf from southeast Washington. Authorities say it's in response to the wolf killing livestock and injuring several more in Asotin County. WDFW says they now have until October 8th to kill the animal after repeated non-lethal attempts to deter the wolves of the Coos Pack. And that was your Nightbeat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website, KREM.com. In Northwest News tonight, Boeing says it's now extending a deadline for the machinists to vote on this new offer, but union leadership says they won't bring it up for a vote at all. Boeing's calling this its improved best and final offer. The offer includes a 30% wage increase over 4 years, a doubled ratification bonus of up to $6,000, increased matches on retirement contributions, and continued commitment to building the next new plane in the Puget Sound region. A union shop steward says this is still not enough. The biggest thing missing, a restored pension. Beyond that, he says the way Boeing went about this by not including the union negotiating committee is unacceptable.
They're trying to create division, they're trying to create confusion. We should be at a point where we can just deal with each other the way that was agreed upon, like adults. This resembles a child throwing a tantrum.
Today marks 12 days of this strike, and in more than a week, machinists will be missing their first paychecks. However, they say they'll stay out there as long as it takes to get their demands met. Now, this all comes as the Federal Aviation Administration says Boeing has a ways to go on its safety overhaul program. FAA Administrator Michael Whitaker testified before a House panel today, the first of 2 days of hearings about Boeing. The airplane manufacturing giant's been under the microscope since a mid-air door plug blowout on an Alaska Airlines flight back in January. Whitaker told the panel Boeing's safety culture improvements could take 3 to 5 years. The FAA capped production of the 737 MAX to ensure those changes are made.
What we're looking at is just to see that there's a real safety culture, not just safety's first as a slogan, but a real safety culture that permeates everything that's done and comes first before production goals or operational goals or mission goals or financial goals.
Whitaker also told lawmakers the FAA needs a facelift to update aging facilities. He testified 90% of his agency's budget goes to sustainment, not new systems. And that was KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time.